Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne here from the Aussie Goddess to do your What's Cracking reading for Thursday, the 11th of July. I love it. This is my Friday. I have tomorrow off. I get to go and spend time with my family, which I'm pretty happy about. Oh, that's nice. Ace of Cups and the Strength card jumping out at me then. So yeah, I've got a 3-day weekend. Then I'm off to Revesby Workers Club on Saturday night. I'll be there between 6 and 9. I've already had a few inquiries, which is always awesome. Cowra all day Sunday. I know I have bookings there already, but if you're interested in a booking, you can go to, if you get in touch with me, I'll tell you who to go to. I'm going to have a Facebook Live on August the 11th, which seems so far away when I booked it, but it's not very far away at all. Next weekend, I'm at Merriweather on the Central Coast, and the weekend after that, I am at Bateman's Bay. Should you be interested in any of those dates, please flick me an email. A big thank you and a big whole lot of love to everyone who subscribed to my channel. I've had some most amazing conversations with people this week who've given me some wonderful confirmation about their beautiful journey. So I know for the rest of you, if you think you're not on track, you are. I want to say to you, don't think you're not. Things are very, very, very evident in the world now that we're being led in a certain direction. The energies are starting to change for all of us. So whether it's for career or for love, you are definitely on the right path. All right, let's see what's happening with you. What's cracking? I'm going to use the Everyday Witch Tarot, which at the moment is my very favourite. Okay, so we have, Three of Swords coming out first. And I always say to everybody, I can find positives in pretty much every card in the deck. This is the only one I go, with. The Three of Cards talks of heartbreak. It talks of hurt. It talks of pain. It can talk about a third party in your relationship. Could be an interfering mother-in-law, interfering friends, interfering ex. Whatever it is for you, someone is trying to pull you apart here. Now, it could be that this has already happened and it is in the past. But there definitely could be something here that's standing between the two of you. And what I want to say to you this morning is I get a really strong feeling here that the two of you are being pulled apart or are not together because of your lack of communication, which is creating this heartbreak. Very interesting. I've never felt that before. Okay, so we do have behind that the Two of Swords. So again, you have this opportunity to walk down a different path and open up communication here. The Two of Swords talks of making a decision between two things, but the swords represent your thoughts. They represent clarity. They represent you cutting things out that don't serve you. And you have a choice to do any of those. So if you're not going to speak up, cut out. That's what that's talking about. Okay, because this is the end of a cycle here. This poor guy, look at him. This is the end of a cycle of negative thinking. So you've got to start doing some decision making here and make decisions to be able to put your voice into things that you need to be heard in. And look at you coming out as the Queen of Pentacles. For some of you, you could be an earth sign, but this is more about you learning how to ground yourself, how to see things the way they are, how to have a much more practical approach to things. I always talk about being the observer. You know, when you're having issues or problems in a relationship, when you're finding it very difficult to move forward, stand back for a moment, have a good look at the other person, how they react, how they respond. Have a good look back at yourself to see what it is about how you do things that may impact what you're trying to get off the ground here. But definitely a need for communication. Pure language is what they're saying to me, whatever pure language means for you. Clear communication is what I would call it. Eight of Wands jumped out on me before, and I looked, it's a really nice card, the Eight of Wands. And I know people say, you know, this is supposed to be things moving very quickly. And so if it's really quickly, why hasn't it happened yet? And I think the thing is with really quickly, we're talking about the spirit world here where there is no time. What it really means is there are messages coming for you that are coming in very, very fast. Now, the messages can be received telepathically. They are coming across the airways. They don't necessarily mean that you have written letters coming in or messages via text or email. Now, they could mean that. But the traditional meaning here is messages coming across the airway. And we see here, look, this is the Wizard of Oz, isn't it, with the cyclone in the background. So she's sending out messages here. So for a lot of you, you're not receiving these messages in a physical sense. You're receiving these messages being downloaded to you here, either by the person you're meant to be with or by spirit. But you are receiving here messages to move forward. You could be dealing with the King of Wands. Now, the King of Wands can represent Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius. The King of Wands is a person who is very, very much in charge of their kingdom. They're a leader. They know what they want. Look, this guy's plotting out what he's doing here. And he's talking to a cat. So he's using his intuition, guys. This is what he's doing. He's really getting into this. He's really trying to understand this. For some of you, this can be you doing this. But he is definitely trying to understand here what's going on, how to get around this. Planning and plotting. Four of Pentacles coming in here. So the Four of Pentacles talks about hanging on to things that no longer serve you. Hanging on to the way you think about things, hanging on to your old ideas, maybe hanging on to the past here. But being able to let something go here because you want to move forward. Okay, and there you go, Knight of Swords. So you're feeling very sure, you've got clarity, precision, you know what you need to do, and now you're working on that. Four of Wands. So we're talking about stability. We're talking about, for some of you, this is about marriage, long-term relationship, but definitely something very, very secure. Seven of Wands. No longer fighting and being defensive against this energy and wanting to have something more permanent, more stable, more grounded. Okay, where you speak up about things and you don't hold back here. You know, I said to someone yesterday, the thing is with the whole holding back, and look, I'm just as guilty as everybody else here. You have to stand there and you have to say, what have I got to lose here by speaking up? If I speak up and it doesn't yield a positive response for me, then at least I'm not worrying about it anymore and I'm learning to let that go. But all the time I'm hanging on to it, I'm worrying, I'm stressing, I'm overthinking it, I'm coming up with illusionary ideas about how this should pan out. What I want to say to you is sometimes speaking up may not be the easiest thing to do. But at the end of the day, if it stops your mind from doing all of those things, then it's worthwhile. We do have the Strength card, so you are finding the strength to be able to do this. And look at that, Ace of Cups at the end. Now I want to say to you in this reading, there are two aces which talk about stability and something or somebody you love here. So there are some of you here who are breaking your own hearts by not speaking out about something that you want to say. This can be holding on to old ideas of how romantic relationships should work, how you should behave when you're out in the public, how you should respond to people. And there is a lot of energy here of understanding that holding back and not speaking out stops you moving forward. So you become consumed by this stagnancy. And what the universe is saying here is if you want this Eight of Wands and you want things to go more quickly, then you need to take control by understanding what is impacting this relationship or this situation is not speaking out. It's not expressing yourself. This is why we have this Three of Swords coming up here. This thing that stands between you and the other person, whether this is family, work, job, whatever it is is that you're not speaking up here. You are not saying what is really on your mind, what is in your heart. You are hanging on to things because you think that you're going to get hurt by doing this, or, you know, it's not the right thing to do. So let me challenge you and say, if you think it's going to hurt you by speaking up, is it not hurting you by standing still? Because standing still and not releasing is actually hurting more than what speaking up is. And the thing is with the speaking up, which I've learned dramatically over the years, so for me personally, which I hope some of you learn from, is sometimes we're not direct with what we say. So the other person becomes confused. Or you may not say exactly what you want to say. You may pad it a little bit. Or what I do is I self-sabotage myself. So I'll say something and then I step back into that defeat position. Do you want to go out for dinner? I guess you're too busy at the moment. So the other person goes, oh, okay, maybe I am a bit busy. They don't hear the would you like to go out for dinner. Those self-sabotaging. I do it a lot, and someone pulled me up on it the other day and I went, okay, my next lesson is right there. It may be that you say things that you mean, but when the other person, or you realize it hits the other person's ears, you pull back immediately. So you can do it sometimes in a negative sense too. And I've seen other people do that with me lately, where they've said something that's quite negative, quite hurting, quite cutting, but then they pull back into that position and go, oh, I didn't mean that for you. Well, you actually did, and you need to sit with that energy. If you mean that, you need to sit with it. You need to explore it. So if you want to say something, don't pull back and go, oh, before the person has a chance to respond. Do you want to go out for dinner? Let them respond first. Don't immediately go in with the self-sabotage statement like, maybe you're too busy at the moment. Maybe you don't like me as much as you do. Just have a think about that, because I think this is what this is saying here. And I think for me, this was a huge lesson the other day, and I'm learning greatly from it. And then I get a reading about it, which means that this reading is resonating with me today. So it's about us being true to who we are. If you want to say something, if you want to be spiteful towards somebody, if you want to be nasty, say it, explore it. At least you've got it out of your head. You're not thinking about it. You're not going over it time and time again. You're not trying to understand why you feel that way. And then perhaps you're giving the other person the opportunity to say, well, hang on a moment, that isn't quite true. That isn't how it is. Yes, I would love to go out for dinner with you. Yes, I love you too. Okay, so we have the card of magic coming out here. I feel like there's lots of magic behind that card this morning. So let's have a little read, shall we? Okay, the invitation. When magic appears, you're invited to see the world through the eyes of wonder and awe, taking on the innocence of a child who knows that all things are possible. Infinite potential exists in the great mind, and you are being invited to call in and recognize the dance in synchronicity, events, signs, symbols, and omens given to you through the oracle of the ordinary world. This is a sign that Spirit is reminding you that you can co-create your world in a sacred partnership. Your part is to dream, to amend, and to watch for the signs that show you what action to take. Right now it appears that you are on the right track to make your dreams come true. Great Spirit is listening and acting on your behalf. Pay attention. Magic gives birth to miracles. Holy dooly. The medicine says, have you forgotten that you live in a world that is infused with magic? Perhaps you've become cynical and think you have to create your life all by yourself with no help from others. It's time to remember your relationship to Source. But you are part of the story of the world, a living spark of spirit living on earth for this short time as an emissary of light. If you look back over your life, you'll find many instances in which your actions alone were not the cause of out-of-the-blue coincidences that led you to a new relationship, job, or other important moment on your journey. So how do you stay in this awareness? The answer is simple. It can be as a little child and cultivate that wondrous curiosity. You will see the magic again and be amazed. Remember, magic is real and in everything. And it's really funny because that resonates so strongly with me, because Spirit has been saying to me a lot lately, be the observer. Don't get involved. Don't take your emotions into the situation. Stand back for a moment and have a look how it unfolds. Don't go in with emotion. And it is really teaching me so much, because obviously as a child I reacted very emotionally to things. So I need to understand that emotion may not be the way I need to work with things now. So if you go in screaming and yelling at someone, they're probably not going to listen to what you're going to say, because they won't take you seriously. So there's a lot to be said for that magic card today. So have a great day, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thanks.